Look at this unicorn, a complete daylight video session. I can't believe it. And I'm even with my kids. Today's been, I don't know, people in my groups, people, my clients, my friends, we all talk about how it's really hard to focus and stay on any kind of routine right now. And I actually said to myself earlier, maybe I need to do what I keep talking with my clients about, which is get myself on a routine. I'm not waking up at the same time every day. I am not working at the same time every day. And look at this, I'm even doing a video when it's broad daylight. Strange. What's on my mind today is the concept of reassurance. I love that word. Um, I was talking with a male client of mine today who is a young man. He's in his mid 20s and he's just finished a graduate program or is about to finish a graduate program of study, but has been disrupted, like so many people, in his study, and is trying to kind of find his way right now. Um, and so, so many people are trying to find a new path when the path is not at all well lit or even marked. And so, trying to just kind of talk through what that feels like and how to start doing things, at least that you can do, is a big part of real basic work right now in therapy. And the concept of reassurance came up because this client, who has a history of kind of dealing with anxiety and some family of origin stuff, said to me, one of the things that's really helping him right now, even as a 20-something-year-old man, is the idea that he remembers Mr. Rogers, that famous quote from Mr. Rogers, that when there are times of crisis, this is a paraphrase of that quote, during times of crisis, look for the helpers. And that's where you can find your own sense of peace. Just look for the helpers. And I think that, and he said that that's what makes him feel reassured, is remembering that quote. And, and also some behavior on the part of one of his parents who is being reassuring with him versus like anxiety producing and promoting. So that was such a rich discussion. And of course, again, as a therapist, we don't check ourselves at the door. I have really good boundaries. I'm not having my clients take care of me at all. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I've noticed, as I've said in my videos the last maybe once or twice, I've noticed that my son, who's 12, is starting to show some signs of emotional distress. Not anything terribly serious, but just enough to really get my attention. And so, I'm just trying to kind of keep my eye on him and to be really present for him and to very, very, very much, as best as possible, check my anxiety response. My goal as a parent, I think, was so well spoken today by my client. My goal as a parent is to be reassuring. I want to be one of the helpers for my children. I'd love to be one of the helpers for other people too. But at the very least, that's what I aim to be right now during this crazy time. I had my first driving lesson with my daughter today. I took her for a drive. I want her to learn how to drive a manual transmission car. And so we just kind of went around and around in this parking lot. And she was it's terrifying. Anybody who's tried to drive a stick shift or manual transmission or however you want to look at it, 5-speed, learning how to get used to the clutch and how things, go, can be really scary. And I remember my dad teaching me, and that's actually one of my fondest memories as a teenager during a time that was not really my best. I was not living my best life during those years, but that is a good memory. And as I was driving back with her today, I was realizing I was probably 13 or 14. I know I started driving when I was 15 for sure, back in the days when you could do that. So I was a lot younger than her. But I remember that feeling. And so my goal for that lesson, as difficult as it may be, was to be reassuring for her. And when the car would like lurch and stop, or she was trying to figure out how to put the brake and is just not freak out and just be like, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. It was really like, I feel like reassurance is just everything to me and the people in my world right now. Because isn't that something that we all seek as humans? Some form of reassurance. And I could go on and on about that topic. And I'll say one more thing about that. It was really interesting. I read an article, and I've been doing my very best not to read a bunch of articles about all these scary things that happen to people who are sick, particularly in the hospital and, alone and whatnot. But I was reading about how people are now finding, reassurance was not the way they put it, but this is the same concept, reassurance even in their darkest times, alone in a hospital under like an oxygen helmet like they use in Europe, and interacting with nurses and doctors who are dressed up in just really scary looking outfits, and how patients in those situations are still finding ways to be reassured by their providers, and for the providers to feel a sense that they're doing something to reassure their clients who are also scared for patients. So anyway, I love the concept of reassurance. So that's what's on my mind today. And the song that I'm going to add to my playlist, I was thinking actually about what were the things when I was young that felt reassuring to me. And one of the things that feels reassuring to me, or did as a young child, and again, there was a lot of challenge in my household growing up when I was little. And I was also very sick as a child, chronically ill with actually lung issues. And so I found reassurance through books and reading, but I also found reassurance through music, and it still continues to be, as anybody who knows me knows, a very important part of my life. And as a child, there was a sound. We had a turntable that would drop records after the first one finished playing, the next one would just drop down. And I can't remember how many it held at a time, but I want to say it was like 4 or 5, maybe. I don't even know how many, more maybe. And I remember going to sleep at night on certain nights, and there would be quiet music playing in the household. And I remember laying in my bed, and I could hear the sound of the record dropping on the turntable and the sound of the song starting again. And that memory is just that reassuring thing for me. And I was thinking about what were the songs I was hearing as literally a 2 and 3-year-old child, because those are the first memories I have really as a young child are of sickness and being in the hospital and hearing music playing. And so I was thinking back on that, and I remembered the Cat Stevens album. There were 2 of them. One, Tea for the Tillerman, came out when the year I was born. And then the next one was, oh God, now I'm not going to remember the name of the album. It'll come to me. Teaser and the Fire Cat. So Tea for Tillerman and Teaser and the Fire Cat came out back to back. Cat Stevens, who's now going by Yusuf Salam, I believe, now that he's converted to the Muslim faith. Anyway, there's a song called Morning Has Broken on Teaser and the Fire Cat album. And I love that song. I get tearful even thinking about it, because I just remember listening to both of those albums just all the time as a very young girl. And Morning Has Broken is a religious song. And I remember going to camp, and I was raised in the Episcopal faith, and kind of a liberal-ish tradition, and they would incorporate songs like that into services. And anyway, so that song is beautiful, and it's reassuring to me, and so I'm going to add that to my playlist in honor of things that feel reassuring during very difficult times. And the mind-body practice that I'm going to do is actually what I did with the same client earlier today, and it is literally just like I've done in several videos before, but why not do it again? We just did a basic grounding exercise, and we added a quick mindfulness scan to it. And so I'm going to do a really fast demonstration because I've done them in each of these videos in the last few days. But so a grounding exercise with a mindfulness component would consist of, again, after focusing on the breath, And doing a few like really good cleansing breaths, which means inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth in a way that relieves some tension. That means like really digging deep, sitting up straight, bringing air down into the lungs. And now I'll just do the grounding demonstration, which I've done so many times here lately, which is just to feel the floor underneath your feet. And to just feel the chair supporting your body or whatever it is that you're sitting or standing on. And not only to feel that support, but to even envision it. So it helps to close your eyes. And just envision your feet up against, in my case, a hardwood floor. What does that feel like underneath your skin of your feet? Is it warm? Is there any give in the floor like would be in a carpet? Envision your legs supported by the chair underneath them. Envision your legs just folding into that fabric, that cushion, or even that wood, whatever it is that's underneath them, but just letting them be fully supported. And just feel the fact that you are grounded in that spot. You are supported in that spot, and you are strong in that spot. And the next thing to do is just simply do a quick sensory scan to help with that sense of being grounded in this reality, not in the reality of worry, not in the reality of where am I, just right here in this reality. So once you feel the grounding underneath your body, whatever that might be, open your eyes and take a sensory scan. What do you see around you? I look over there and see an armchair. I see the window and the sunlight coming through it. What do you feel with your fingertips when you reach down? Feel the fabric of whatever you're wearing? Or maybe you feel the material that the chair that's supporting you is made of against your fingertips. Whatever you feel, just acknowledge it. What do you hear as you sit and you ground yourself? If I stop and look around, what do I hear right now? I hear the sound of an air conditioning unit next door to me. I hear a very distant sound of people talking, probably across the street. What do I smell right here, right now? That might be a little challenging. I can smell actually the very light scent of lavender that's in the fabric that I'm sitting on right now. So I just washed it. I smell ever so gently the smell of the candle behind me, which has not much scent at all. What do I taste? I taste coffee in my mouth because I was just drinking coffee. And then once you're done with your sensory scan, you can just acknowledge where you are in this moment and then make a choice as to what to do next. Maybe that is go take a walk. Maybe that is fold your laundry. Maybe that's read a book or whatever it may be. But sometimes grounding exercises like that can not only, allow you to kind of drop into your body, but can just arrest a sense of like kind of anxiety that's building, even if it's just general anxiety. So I love those techniques for just kind of stopping that flow.